the most heartbreaking loss you can imagine for Detroit? It's got to be up there.
This is worse than I think the what I expected in this. I expected the Niners to win, but I expected the Niners to be up like 7 to 10 points the entire game,
right?
And Detroit just never to be able to get over the hump.
Maybe they show a little scrappiness.
Yeah, which would have sucked. Obviously, losing's never fun, but at least that's a little easier pill to swallow than what happened. That's brutal. That's a brutal way to not go to the Super Bowl. Is to have guys on the sideline waving goodbye to the fans in the second quarter.
Mm-hmm. Dominating 24-7. You're cruising, and then it was impressive how quickly it all fell apart.
Yeah,
it happened almost immediately.
Yeah,
and I know there's a section of Twitter that when you blame Dan Campbell for his choices, it ignites a passionate, fiery debate. And I know those people will say, yeah, well, it was the receivers and it was this, drop passes. To me, that you do not lose a 17-point lead based on coaches' decisions alone, based on drop passes alone. There has to be a blame pile behind the Detroit Lions facility in Detroit. There has to be a pile where you throw all of it because the blame could go to a lot of different places. It was a remarkable symphony of shit that led to what happened.
I was fine with most of Dan Campbell's decisions. The third down run at the end was inexcusable. I don't understand.
That was the word. Calling the timeout when timeouts were the most valuable thing he had was the dumbest thing he did.
That was really fucking stupid.
I wasn't okay with his decisions.
You weren't.
I was not.
Because they didn't work.
Well, certainly.
If they had worked,
but that's how life works, isn't it? When a decision will tell you it's bad if it doesn't work. That's how decisions work. Decisions will say, "Hey, you shouldn't have done me because it worked out for the worst." So the thing about those decisions is, and I know the argument where people would say, "Oh, he's done it all year. He's done it all year. He's done it all year." Yeah, okay, well, maybe a week 2 game in fucking Green Bay is not the same as the NFC Championship game in San Francisco.
What got you there?
Where you've got the favorite. Yeah, what got you there? You are there. You are there. And sometimes these decisions, these games turn into a one-decision game or a one-play game. If you've got a chance to take a 3-possession lead midway through the third quarter against a favorite, do it. If you've got a chance to tie the second one, the second one was a bigger deal to me. The first one, okay, I got it. He's trying to stay on top, momentum and everything. The second one, you're down 3. Everything's already fallen apart. The momentum is gone. Tie the game. Tie the game.
But
tie the game.
How do you know the field goal was going in?
You don't. You don't.
Like that. If you're saying this is like
you don't. But it
was a chip shot field goal.
A 48-yard field goal in the NFL is about a 75% proposition.
Not for that guy, right? The Lions kicker.
That guy, I think it was a 71% proposition. 40 to 49, he was 71%. So,
but
in that situation, maybe it goes down a little bit.
But then, at 50, he's terrible.
All I'm saying is, tie the game.
So what you're saying is you would have
make the field goal,
kicked the field goal, and made it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if he kicks the field goal and misses it? Would Brandon Walker have then come in and been like, "Why the fuck?"
The ironic thing is that would have been a better advertisement and a better confirmation of his style of play than actually going for it. Going for it, he missed it. But if he had kicked it and didn't get it, then he could have said, "Well, I got away from what we are," stuff like that.
But then we kill him for being a cat for not having the ball. Like, how do you have the balls all season to go for it, and then in the biggest moment?
I don't think it's balls. I think it's just a matter of.
I'm very pro going for it. I'm very pro
at all times.
No,
without regard.
Part, if that's your thing as a coach, yeah, I'm pro sticking to your guns because it's less about like that one decision in a vacuum, and it's more about the culture within the locker room that you're saying to your guys over and over and over throughout an entire season, and you're saying it to them going into next year because a lot of those guys are going to be coming back. Obviously, and the Lions have high hopes for next season. You as a coach are saying I have the utmost belief in all of you at all times, and I will never waver from that.
Flip side, what if you could have said? What if you could have said, "Congratulations, guys, you're going to the Super Bowl"?
But you could.
That would have been an awesome thing to say to your locker room.
You're saying that like it's a guarantee. Like he was.
That would have been an awesome thing.
What are you talking about? Like he kicked. So they kicked it. They go for the field goal. That field goal was worth 26 points, and that clinches the game for them. At best, it ties the game.
No, okay. I'll tell you. Let's go the first one.
And it was not a guarantee, not even close, that he was going to make it.
Let's go the first one. The first one, he didn't kick it. I think it was fourth. And in fairness, Josh Reynolds should have caught the ball, and it should have been a first down. So to put that out there. But if he kicks the first one, and they do make it, they're up 3 scores. They reset, and they have kept the momentum. When they didn't get it, the momentum just that was. I think that was the drive that opened the floodgates to the whole thing.
But I guess that would be the point I would say about the final decision when you're down 3. You're talking about momentum, and the point you made about it's one thing for Dan Campbell to make that decision in week 2 at Green Bay or whatever you said. The same thing to me would apply to the kicker. That it's one like you tell me the kicker is 71% from 48 yards. It's one thing to kick those field goals in week 4 at home.
Yeah, that's true.
Against Jacksonville, but
this
is the NFC Championship on the road when all the momentum is lost and the whole team is looking at you like, if you fuck this kick up, we are not going to the Super Bowl, and it's a 48-yarder. I don't think it's a guarantee. It's far from a guarantee.
But what one more thing we're doing, we're doing exactly what we shouldn't do. We're boiling it down to those 2 decisions. Those 2 decisions were a part of the utter collapse. The fumble on the first drive, on the first play of a drive after a touchdown was the biggest play of the game. That changed everything. 24-17. If you have a drive right there, you stop the bleeding and you're okay. Fumbling on the first play is the most brutal play. The Brock Purdy pass down the field and it goes off the guy and it's a 53-yard catch.
His face mask.
That's a terrible break. Like all the drops.
Jameson Williams, which like the drop in the end zone, which he doesn't. It's not one where it's like you can't drop that. Like I guess there are times. I don't know. It wasn't like 100% must catch, but
12
also
things
like,
went wrong.
If you're trying to win the Super Bowl, that would have been a great time to catch.
Hey, Josh Reynolds on third down, maybe catch the ball.
Josh Reynolds on every pass that went to him. Maybe I would have caught it personally.
I certainly would have caught the second one where it's just streaking across the field like you're a pro receiver. What are you doing? But like 12 to 13 things had to go wrong and everything had to go right for San Francisco.
Lions defense, maybe don't let Brock Purdy scramble for 40 yards at a time.
We're not letting Brock Purdy turn into Michael Vick all of a sudden. Brock Purdy, man, that's a conversation. That guy.
I don't think it needs to be. I think that's that's where I really.
I think what's amazing about him is he completely sucks until he doesn't, and when he doesn't suck, my God, he's breathtaking. Like yesterday, the first half he just wasn't very good, and in the second half he was fucking perfect. He was unbelievable.
I think that's just every quarterback.
I don't think it is.
I think that's a lot of quarterbacks that they suck until they don't. And
there is turns into Michael Vick. When does that happen?
Why is there such a fascination with Brock Purdy as to whether he's good or not? Like the answer's in the middle. Obviously, he's obviously not the best.
I mean, he's on a
league,
team.
He's not.
He's on a team that's going to the Super Bowl. He's on a team that's been the favorite all year. Like he's on.
But why is it so important to everybody to figure out whether he is the most dog shit guy to ever line up under center or he's a legitimate MVP candidate? Why can't it just be like? Yeah. He's like a lot of quarterbacks.
He's definitely neither.
Where when the conditions are right and he has a clean pocket, he could deliver a good ball. When he gets a little pressure in his face and he tries to do too much, it's a disaster.
Because I think the divide goes further than that. I think sometimes you see passes out of him and you're like, how did this guy get past the scouting combine? You wonder how is this guy on an NFL field? You see passes like that from him, and then you see things like in the second half yesterday where he's 5 straight scoring drives. He's running. He's the fastest player on the field all of a sudden. Like what his gap is so wide.
But I truly do think that's a lot of quarterbacks. I think that's basically every quarterback in the NFL. And we shine a bigger light on Brock Purdy because he was the last pick.
I think most quarterbacks.
Brock Purdy was a 3rd-round pick. I don't think.
Yeah, that's true.
I think everybody would be like, yeah, he's not great, but he's also he can make some plays here and there, and he's, it's not every single quarterback, but I don't know. Like to me, Brock Purdy was not great in the first half and pretty freaking good in the second half, but that's not unusual. Like he had Lamar Jackson was dog shit yesterday.
Oh yeah, we'll have plenty of time for that. But I still think you're underselling it a little bit in the second half. They needed every fucking yard, every fucking point. He scored on every single drive he got the ball. In the second half of the NFC title game, he was losing by 17 points. That's like legendary shit. That's like he changed everything. And when that ball broke his way. And that was lucky. When he threw the ball, the defender hits it, and Ayuk catches it. That broke his way. After that, perfection. Like I'm not trying to downplay him. I'm trying to upplay him. That's how good he was in the second half. I'm trying to upplay him. I'm playing him up.
Okay.
And he could lose the Super Bowl because he sucks so much. He could also win the MVP and one of the best performances of all
The
time.
play that turned for me was the one where he was scrambling, thought about running it for a second, and then threw it back towards the middle. He was like running this way and threw it back towards the middle field that way, like over the defender. And it was like a gain of 5, but it picked up the first down.
Yeah. Debo caught that one?
Was it Debo? Who was it that caught that
Jennings?
one?
Oh, Jennings?
Yeah.
That was the play that, like, if that's intercepted, Brock Purdy might not ever take another snap in the NFL again.
Right.
But it was a completion for a first down.
It feels like it's like if we walked out of here and the rest of the day we flipped a series of coins and one of them we got $10 million, one of them we died.
Yeah.
That feels like having Brock Purdy as your quarterback yesterday. But he was great in the second half.
But I don't know. I just never really felt like the interception wasn't great, but there's something about Brock Purdy that, like, every time he fucks up, it just feels like a monumental, like, there it is. There it is. That's the guy.
Told you so.
Told you so. Now the clock has struck midnight, Cinderella. This is the quarterback we're going to see for the rest of your career now, you dumb piece of shit. You fucking sucked, and I told you from the start you sucked, and now here we go. Here comes the sucky, and then here comes the sucky.
Here comes the sucky. How was your weekend?
And then he starts making plays, and everyone's like, where did that come from? And the answer is that he's not a perfect quarterback, and yet he's capable of doing good things. He's capable of fucking up, and that's like 85% of the guys who play in the NFL. I don't know. It's just very weird to me, the fascination with trying to figure out how good Brock Purdy is when, like, Brock Purdy has been pretty consistently like B+.
Yeah.
Since he's been in the NFL. I don't know. It doesn't need to be Mahomes or Zach Wilson.
You're a Lions fan today. Today sucks, right? I mean, I saw the graphic yesterday. There's 4 teams that have never made the Super Bowl in the current league. I think 2 of them are the new teams, Texans and whoever, and then one of them are the Lions. They're 0 for 58.
That's a great stat.
0 for 58 in making the Super Bowl. That's pretty.
What was the stat?
Pretty bad.
What was the graphic you saw?
It was teams that haven't made the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but
they've had 58 tries. They haven't made it.
And it was like 2 new teams, like whatever, the Texans and the Lions and
Texans. Yeah, but it was 2. They've never made the Super Bowl. Everybody else has made the Super Bowl is the point. And if you're a Lions fan and you're up 24-7, you're fucking getting ready to call your dad. You're like, oh my God, I've been waiting for this my whole life. I can finally admit to being a Lions fan, and then like that.
But if you're a Lions fan of a certain age, you had to have known. You had to have known.
You don't know. That's fandom, though. You don't know because finally, the Red Sox finally won. The Cubs finally won.
Yeah, well, when the Cubs were up in Game 7 of the World Series, I wasn't like calling my parents and saying we just did it. I was like, I'm gonna wait for the final out, then I'm gonna wait for all the players.
I said getting ready to call.
I'm gonna wait for all the players to be off the field.
Yeah.
When the Cubs are on the team plane flying back to Chicago with the trophy, I might consider calling my mom. Like you can't get ahead of yourself. So I do feel bad for Lions fans, but any Lions fan at halftime that was like calling their boys and like, holy shit, we're doing it, and trying to book a trip to Vegas.
You're taking that one too literally. How about this?
You're an idiot.
How about this? You're taking that one too literally. How about the fact that your hopes were definitely high as fuck after that first half? Right?
Yeah, you're feeling good.
You're feeling good as hell. You're like, oh my God, is this the moment? Is this the moment? And no.
I think the story of the first half was less. I think this is why I'm fascinated with people. I'm fascinated with people being fascinated with Brock Purdy. The story of the first half wasn't Brock Purdy. It was the Niners defense. They couldn't stop anything from the Lions. The Lions were marching down the field nonstop, and Brock Purdy wasn't playing great, and everyone wants to point to Brock Purdy, but like the Niners defense was dog shit.
Well, it's actually a point you've already made, but in the second half, you can do all these things. You can say Dan Campbell, and you can say fumble, you can say drop passes. Detroit's defense was fucking awful in the second half, and the Niners defense was. You're right. The Niners defense was barely showed up. Like they were getting pounded up the middle by the run. They were getting beat by they were getting beat every which way.
Yeah,
and then they weren't.